I am Michelle Mitchell, and you are tuning in to Navigating Life. And today I have an amazing guest. She's been here before, and I actually had a session with her and decided to bring her back and talk a little bit about that and what we discovered and uncovered and what I remembered and what she really helped me remember. So again, my name is Michelle Mitchell. This is Navigating Life. You're watching Sway TV on Amazon Live, and we are here to share with you what works for us and all of the things that might expedite the process for you to get deeper, go to the next level, create more calm, more empowerment, whatever it is that you're looking to do. We're hoping that you find it here on Sway TV. We have over 10 hosts on Sway TV, and with that comes 10 different perspectives and different interests and all that. So there's something for everyone. So without further ado, I want to introduce my guest, Lexi, to you guys and have her tell a little bit about what she does and why she does it. And then we are going to dive in to the really cool stuff, which is what Lexi and I did together and what she led me through. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Lexi in to this. Let's see if I can do that. This is Lexi. Lexi, welcome. Welcome to Sway TV. We're so happy to have you here today.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. I'm very glad to be here with you.
I want our guests to know, first of all, what do you do and why do you do it?
So I'm a results coach. I work with people who find themselves grinding too hard, who have goals, who want to reach those goals and be in love with life while at it, and instead of going into a burnout. So I help them to nail down what they're trying to achieve, what their super strengths are, what they're good at, and I focus on their strengths. I focus on their past wins. I help them find their algorithm for success, so that instead of, like you, Michelle, when we did our meeting, you had a lot of wins. You have them still under your belt, but a lot of times it's intuitive. Sometimes it's not on a conscious level. So what I help my clients with is to find what exactly makes them uniquely them, so they can bring it into their consciousness. And every time they approach a task or a goal, or they want to move on to a higher level in their life, they can consciously apply those principles and nail it every time.
Okay, that was a lot of stuff. But here's what I took away from that. You help to expedite the process. You help to identify the pieces and expedite the process, because, you know, and I'm talking from a space now of, we did a session together. So I'm kind of cheating for everybody else that's watching that doesn't know, but there's so many things, like you said I had a lot of wins. There's so many things in our lives, in our journeys, in our past that we don't give credit to or pay attention to. And I almost feel like you were able to, you know, kind of pull those things out and create the combination, you know, for success for me. My question to you though is what brought you here? I would love to know a little bit about your story. I think one of the things that I love when I watch an interview and when I learn, I like to know like somebody's why. So I guess that's the question. So Lexi, what's your why?
Mm-hmm. My why, my core values are freedom and dignity. I was born in a dictatorship. I was born in the Soviet Union, where everyone was told what to do, how to live, what to believe. Blatantly in our faces, we're told this is what you're supposed to believe, this is what you're supposed to think, and this is what your life is supposed to be like. We were used as a resource. And then at the same time, I was blessed with a family, my mom and dad, who told me, no, you'll be whoever you want to be. They valued and respected my dreams. Every single time I asked my mom, who am I gonna be? She confidently said, you'll be who you choose to be. Where am I gonna live? You'll live where you choose to live. And so
Wow.
on the one hand, I had that oppressive system. And on the other hand, I had two people in my life who said, no, 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 it's all irrelevant. It's all irrelevant. And when I graduated high school, the Soviet Union collapsed and suddenly all doors were open.
Wow.
I could live that life of freedom and dignity. And it really drives me crazy when I see people living shattered lives, having to submit to some kind of weird toxic beliefs. And that's not okay with me. And that is my big why.
Wow, that's a lot, and I don't want to glaze over it, because one of the things that I heard you kind of say, and tell me if I've got this, in that space of living kind of in this oppressive environment, but still knowing that you had the freedom, right? The freedom was kind of in your mind, in your perspective, like how you saw things. But to kind of look and like take that framework and put it over, on my life, and say, I kind of put that oppression on myself. You know what I mean? Nobody was doing it for me. It's like, I think sometimes, we do live small, or we do live, with a low bar or a low roof, and that's something that's kind of self-imposed, whereas you actually had that experience. It wasn't self-imposed in that space, and now your ability to kind of like lead somebody through whatever that self-imposed or that piece that they're missing. And for me, it was kind of like the piece that I was missing, because interestingly enough, I mean, this, I'm also, an empowerment coach and all these things. But I think what's important for our viewers to also know is that everybody needs a coach. And it doesn't matter if you are a coach or, you're not a coach. There are things that we miss when we're in it ourselves. There are parts of our lives that we miss when we're in it. And when somebody else can have another perspective and help to draw that out, magical things can happen. And I believe, like, that's really what we experienced. And in the conversation that we had, and you guys, this was such an interesting conversation. I have to tell you, it was like, some of it was expected and some of it was unexpected. So I'm just going to kind of leave it there. I mean, it's not too scary or anything like that, but you have to leave room for it. You have to leave time to process it and really be in it. And I felt like you were a guide. Like, I'm just going to like guide you to this, you kind of like, not necessarily a guide. I was the guide. I think you were holding the space. That's kind of what it felt like, because you would just ask the question and we would talk about it. I want to talk a little bit about me as a client, but your other clients too. Is it common that people miss their wins? Like, is it common let's talk a little bit about that, and maybe why is that?
All the time. And for your first question, is it common that people miss their wins? And by the way, I have never had a season in my life without a coach or a mentor. So I also have someone, because you need that perspective, an outsider perspective who is filter free. That's the problem. So, and that's why people don't consider, they do two things. Either they are aware of their wins, but they dismiss them. They all come with the word but. Yes, but it was luck. Yes, but someone else helped me. Oh yes, but that person was a friend. So I hope that sounds familiar, because anyone who has achieved anything in this life, the more we achieve, actually, the higher risk of dismissing our wins.
Why do we dismiss these wins? Like what is it about us that we can't sit in there and go, I did this amazing thing, and I'm gonna, like, remember it and recognize it and give myself, some kudos for it and put that kind of in my tool belt. What is it about us human beings, or this type of human being, or if it's everybody, what is it about us that we just kind of dismiss the good stuff that we do?
Well, I'll tell you my perspective, and you coach people too, so see if that shows up in your practice. I believe people dismiss their wins because they don't internalize their achievements. And we learned that since childhood. It was my story too. Like, let's say we win a competition, and it's like, good for you, you get your trophy, and then move. Because usually, like I said, people who learn to achieve things, they're busy. They have other things to look forward to. Or it's like, okay, good for you. What's next? What's next?
Right.
And you never stop and celebrate.
Right.
You never make it your own.
That really resonates with me. That what's next really resonates with me, because I think that's something that I really recognized when I realized I wasn't really living in the present moment, and the what's next comes so fast. If you guys are just tuning in, you're watching Navigating Life on Sway TV on Amazon Live. My name's Michelle Mitchell, and I'm a life coach. I bring tips and tools and wonderful people and coaches to help you guys expedite the process of your growth, kind of wherever you're at. So if you're just jumping in, I'm talking with Lexi, and we are actually cross-continental Zooming. Lexi is not in California with me, and she could tell you more about where she is, because I actually love hearing about it and what she can explore outside her space. I'm talking with Lexi. She is and I love when you say, is it 80-20? Is that how you say it?
It's 2080.
2080. I always mess. Okay, and then you can explain what 2080 means, because I think it's really interesting. So she's a 2080 coach. 2080. Yes, is that right? Is that how we say it?
Yes.
And she helps people get to where they need to go, fully empowered, fully ready. But I did an exercise with Lexi. I had a session with her, and I'll tell you that I know she didn't pull out all the tools in her toolbox, but this one was really effective and important for me, which is why Lexi's back. This is her second time here with us on Navigating Life. And I really kind of wanted to explore a little bit about what we did, but also kind of share, Lexi's perspective on things. And we were just talking about why people don't celebrate their wins, because one of the techniques that Lexi uses is she helps people find the wins that they've had in their life, and to really kind of crack the code on those. So we were talking about why people don't celebrate their wins, and it's because, and I resonate with this, is, it's like, okay, I accomplished this, now what's next? You don't sit in that space, because you're kind of what I would call kind of like a driver, right? Like you're driving to the next thing, and you're driving to the next thing. So one reason is people don't celebrate their wins because they're moving on to the next thing. What's another reason that they don't celebrate their wins? Or is that the main one?
And another thing, they don't think it's a win. They think it's their weakness, which I don't know how much I can share here. Someone they think, oh, this has always been my weakness, because again, they look at it through a filter of something they might have believed when they were a young child. So they didn't have an opportunity to look at it objectively, and they didn't have someone else to help them do that.
Can you give me an example of somebody that has had a win and doesn't recognize that as a positive? Can you give me an example? Yeah, you can use me. 100%, you guys. We're going to use me. And I'm going to tell you, this is like so, it's so vulnerable because, you know, I did it, like, I didn't really expect the whole process to be like it was, but it was fantastic and amazing. So yes, I'm an open, go ahead. You can use me.
Client confidentiality is being breached right now.
It is.
So, for example, your example, Michelle, one strength that was absolutely striking to me. So what we do, we go through past wins and I look for patterns. What is repeated? What shows up all the time in different seasons in your life, right? So what I saw is that Michelle is a master navigator. She has this incredible ability to show up in a situation, in a place, in a group dynamic. It doesn't matter what it is. And she navigates her way through it. And you saw it as a weakness that you're always like, you have to navigate, you're always doing it, you're always figuring things out on your own. And the reality is that so many people struggle with not being able to do that. And that it's an incredible power and it's an incredible kind of strength that's very rare in the world, actually. And that's what makes you so brilliant. What was your reaction after you came to realize that what you thought was your weakness is actually your strength?
Okay. So that's a really good question because even as I hear you saying that, I'm like going back to our conversation and, you know, back to the space that we were in. And I'll tell, you know, you and all our viewers, you know, you know, from the get-go, from my very early beginnings, I was figuring it out. I was navigating and figuring everything out. You know, I had this, you know, I didn't really have parents from a very early age. I had them, they weren't accessible to me. And so I was kind of like figuring out how things went. People cared for me, but I knew they weren't my mom and dad. And, you know, like how do people get fed? How do they get love? How do they get shelter? How do they get, you know, just kind of like, you know, I was cared for, but I wasn't cared for by my parents in my very early years. So I, you know, I think from age 1, I was, okay, figuring it out. What do I need to figure out to survive, to emotionally survive, to, you know, fit in, to go with the flow, like just figuring it out. And I said this to Lexi, I said, you know, this is exhausting. Because as we went through, and then I'm like, I'm figuring that out. And then I get taken to America. And I say get taken to America because it wasn't my choice to move. It wasn't, it was pretty traumatic, you know, all this stuff. But, you know, a gift in hindsight. But at the time, you know, really kind of a scary thing. So now all of a sudden I'm in another country. I look different. I'm a different color. I speak differently. I don't know the culture. And now I'm figuring it out again. And Lexi and I went through this whole figuring it out. And I saw that as very exhausting and just don't want to figure things out anymore and just want somebody else to figure it out until Lexi pointed out to me that was my skill set. Like that was not draining, but it was empowering, right? So I was seeing it as a drain and I was seeing it as a negative. And when I was able to hear her words and really hear her words, that this was something unique to who I am, and the way that I go about it is something unique to who I am. When I realized, go ahead.
May I add something?
Yes.
And that's the thing. You had to figure it out in situations you were thrown into, but now, okay, I get it. It's totally draining. But now you get to choose what to figure out and what not to figure out. So you get to choose what you love and figure that one out and refuse to deal with the rest because it's not what you're after.
I think that's a really important point that you just made. It's extremely important. You guys, this is actually vital and crucial, because that's not how I was looking at it before our conversation, right? I was like, I got to figure this out and I got to figure that out. And when you recognize that you have the choice, that the choice is yours, that in itself is empowering, enlightening, all these things. It feels like a weight, has come off, and all of a sudden it feels like you're like standing at the buffet, versus, whatever's, coming to you. So I think that's so crucial, that we do have the choice, and that I have the choice to figure things out. I get to choose the sandbox that I want to play in, that I get to choose the work that I want to do. And that's enlightening too. So when you recognize that, when you get that perspective, and I think that that's what I really got from our whole interaction, was a different perspective. And when I got the perspective that what I thought was a weakness is actually a strength, what I thought I had to do was actually a choice. Like, as an adult, I think that we forget that we have choices. We're like, we have to do this and we have to do this, but even if there's a have to do, this is what I like. Now I kind of look at it different. Like how do I choose to do this have to do, right? Like how much of it do I need to figure out, and how much of it can I let go, and so on. So that's an example, you guys. If there's something in your life, and this is something that Lexi's really great at leading people through. If there's, to look at where you've come and how you've come about it, there might be something in there. There might be something in there that you've been thinking has been a drag or a lag or a have to do, when actually it just becomes your magical thing.
And the thing is that we did it all in one call. So I have experience interacting with people from 95 different nationalities. And a lot of times I didn't have time to work with someone for weeks. Sometimes all I had was one meeting. Mm-hmm. So this confidence reset that we did is actually like an ER thing, right?
Yes.
Where we need to have that boost, and sometimes there's not much time. So we did it all in one call.
I love the fact that you called it a confidence reset, because the confidence is there.
You got it. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And it was just that reset, or that recognition, or that remembering. I love to use that word, because I think a lot of times there's so much that we forget, and we just need that cue to remember what, how great things are, how great we are, or this superpower that we have, and so now when I look at things, I look at, okay, so my superpower is really kind of navigating situations, and so I'm a strategist. I mean, that's my graduate degree, right? I'm a strategist, and I think it's interesting, like it's clicking for me, like right now as we're talking, that I've been strategizing from day one. Pretty predictable that I would end up in grad school, to become a strategist, and I'm still strategizing. Like, that's just, and I like to do it. So, and I like to do it for businesses. I'm a coach. I'm a C-level executive coach, and so I go in businesses, and I like to strategize with the businesses. And so now I can apply that fun part of it, like, to my life. Like, something's going on. Okay, well, what's the strategy? How do I figure it out? How do I navigate? So it was a wonderful experience. I would love to hear of some of the successes that your clients have had, and then maybe along that way there might be some things in there that that our audience can glean from that and be like, oh, that's an aha moment, or a light bulb might come on for them. What's one of your experiences with one of your clients that really resonated with you? One of your really good ones.
Well, first of all, I am so excited to do those calls, because every one I do is unique. And that actually feeds into my conviction. I believe that everyone is uniquely gifted, and our goal is to find out what is your specific, I call it secret juice, right, to success. And examples, I mean, are mind blowing. For example, one person just the other day, her superpower, I said, you're a magnetic field. I don't want to go too nerdy on this, but when something is placed into a magnetic field, it changes the charge, it changes the direction. And she just has this power, like she gets in contact with one person or an entire, because she speaks on stages, on large stages, like in front of thousands of people. She can turn around the entire audience just like that. And again, she was not aware of that. So that she is that magnetic field. And we were discussing with her, okay, now she's aware of this superpower. How can she apply it to her business? And she was in a situation where she had to interact and negotiate with a difficult person. And I said, well, now that you're aware that that's what you do, it's your default setting, it's just like you can't help it, think of you interacting with that person now. And it was such a light bulb moment for her. She was like, oh yeah, yes, of course. So all of the stress, all of the like negativity of the meeting that she was going into was gone in a split second. So it's just an understanding these things about us changes the entire perspective again, like you were saying.
Well, it's interesting because it's like change happens in a moment, but getting ready to change is really what takes the time. But the actual change of something happens in that moment. And I think that getting ready to change is a little bit of the process that you can shorten through what you do. Hi, Gina. We've got Gina Capone just joined us in the chat, and she's saying hi to Michelle and hi to Lexi. And I think, Gina, if I can remember, I think last time Lexi was on, you may have been on as well. So welcome, and thank you. She says, you look beautiful today, Michelle. Sometimes I think I come on Sway TV just for the compliments because it fills my bucket. I love it. I love all of our guests in the chat and all of our friends that log on. Gina, if you're just coming on, we are talking about really looking at, at your life and identifying what those wins are. And the reason that you would even identify that is really to figure out I think of it like a combination on a lock, because here's life, right? It's like this, just like this stuff that we have. And like the nuggets and the secrets and the secret sauce is like all kind of hidden in that. And it's the ability to identify, because I think the things that we really, really identify with, like the sticky memories that we have, the stuff that goes is like the yucky stuff, right? I failed there, I failed there. I felt like I can tell you like all my failures probably faster than I can tell you all my wins. And to know that those wins are in that soup, right? And they just kind of need to be fished out. So, it's one of those things where you do need that outside perspective. You need a little bit of, somebody else's voice. And sometimes, and what I think you did for me was somebody else's lens on a particular situation. Gina says, yes, it's always difficult to talk about your wins at life. Absolutely. And Gina, we were talking about sometimes why don't we celebrate our wins, or why don't we talk about our wins? And I think you're just logging on, so I'm going to repeat it really quickly because I think it's important. Sometimes we don't celebrate our wins because we're moving on to the next thing. And so that win's done. We move on to the next thing, and then it's not really stuck in the front of our. It's not at the top of our list to discuss. And then the other thing, Lexi, what was the other thing with why we don't really celebrate our wins?
We dismiss them. We think it's nothing special, or we even think it's a weakness.
Right. So the other thing is we dismiss it, and I think that's something about. Because I'll tell you why I dismiss my wins sometimes is because, like, I think it's not good enough. Like, I don't want
Yeah,
to.
close to our worst. Yeah.
Right? I'm just like, you know, you finish a degree and you graduate, and everyone's like, oh, big, you know, graduation and party, and you get the cards and, you know, all this stuff. And then the two things that happened to me was like, I'm already registered for the next degree. So I have to like go get ready to make that happen. So that's moving on to the next. And the other thing is that one wasn't really that big of a deal because the next degree is the step up. So that, you know, so I kind of like that wasn't good enough. Maybe, you know, the next one might be good enough. So, you know, those are the things that happen. Gina is saying, because I think it's just easier to talk about negativity when in reality, it should be the opposite way. Absolutely. It should be easier to talk about wins. Hi, Caitlin. Welcome, welcome. No, Caitlin says no. They don't want you to win. Caitlin, we want everybody to win.
Yes.
That's what we do. We want everybody to win. Here at Sway TV, it's all about winning. So, and winning with your superpower. So I have identified that. Caitlin says, well, not you guys. Absolutely, Caitlin. We are on Team Caitlin, and we want you to win, win, win. So my superpower is like navigating situations, and even having this discussion with you right now is reminding me that that's what my superpower is. And as I go out,
yeah, not just navigating, you're a master navigator. Own it.
So yeah, it's okay. So listen to this language, all right? I think it's important because I am a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, and I know when you say that word, I know what you're doing. She's doing it to me. She's doing to me what I do to other people, and it's so. Yes, it's important. You have to own it. Yes, you have to own it. Gina says there are always people who want to knock you down and tell you your faults. That's what you mean, right, Caitlin? So I think that's what Caitlin did mean by that. And I actually have, I have this kind of analogy for, like, when you think of like the people that knock you down and remind you of your faults. And I want to share it with you. And it's, you do things in your past, right? And some of them aren't great. You have some failures, you have some falls, you have to, you know, I always say fail forward. You know, it's like, what did I learn from that? But there's some things that you do in your past that you would like to just be done with.
Yes.
And it's okay to be done with because it's done, right? And move on and create, like, design the life that you want to live. Like, what are the things you want to keep in your space? And yes, Gina, you learn from your failure. You learn from failures, and you learn from trying things and doing things differently. So there's always going to be stuff, but there's going to be, you know, people in your life that, if you can imagine, you know, and I bet you have this, you know, more than we have it here, but like the old like church bells, you know, with the big rope, right? At the top of the tower, you know, the bell, and you pull the rope and the bell swings, and you pull the rope and the bell swings. And the more you pull the rope, the more the bell swings. Now, if you stop pulling the rope, the bell starts to slow down. It starts to lose momentum, and it eventually stops until somebody comes along and pulls the rope again. I always think of the things that I'm trying to leave behind, things that don't serve me anymore. I do have some people in my life that will come along and pull the dang rope, you know, on the bell. So, you know, and then I'll have somebody, and then before the bell stops, somebody else comes and pulls the dang rope. And then so now I'm fully like in that momentum of what was. So I make it a point to recognize that when someone's pulling the rope, and not to cut them off or, you know, ignore them, but to redirect the conversation in that moment, and not take the bait. And they're not doing something, I think, intentionally wrong or bad. Sometimes people try to connect, right? Sometimes they try to say, hey, you know, remember when we did blah, 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 blah. And you're kind of thinking, ugh, that wasn't it doesn't bring back the best things for me. So there's two things I do. So I recognize that that's happening. And then I redirect the conversation. And I redirect the conversation to a win. So that is what is, you know, the connect. And that's what's so interesting, because I'll go back with that person, but I'll grab something that was a win. But remember when we did this, right? And bring it forward. So, okay, now I want to pronounce this name properly. So, Namjin. I think that's right. Tell me if I'm saying that properly. Namjin. Namjin says, hello. What are we talking about today? All right. Yes, Namjin. Thank you, Gina. Today we're talking about, well, I say it's, I'm taking, Lexi's words, finding your superpower. But I did a session with Lexi, and she is this awesome coach that's able to draw out and these are my words, like your combination for success, how you can, I think, just kind of expedite that process. And I had the session with her to kind of look back in my life and identify the combination of what were my strengths and how did that serve me, because I would look at them and in kind of like a negative light, and now I'm able to look at them differently. So yes, they have to teach me how to pronounce it. Namjim. Gina, I like your phonetic explanation, because it really, really helped me out. And Gina says, finding your superpower, love that. So maybe Lexi, you can just, just give us a quick, again, like what is like your process? Like, how do you do that? Like, how did you do that with me?
So we mentioned that already, is that we have a tendency to get fixated on everything we did wrong and everything that went wrong. And whatever that we did right. And our entire culture, internationally, psychology, what are they focused on? Weaknesses and problem solving, right?
Right.
But very, very few people are looking at, you actually have your own algorithm or secret to success. You actually have your own unique combination. Michelle used an example of a lock and key and a lock. You have your own unique combination that if you look at your past wins, and that's what we did with Michelle, we made a selection of several wins in her life, and they can be as early as like preschool, childhood. Like they can come from childhood, they can come from when you were studying, or your professional success, or your personal achievements. It doesn't matter. The whole point is that if your mind remembers it as a win, it already means something. It means that it is storing that win in memory because it contains that algorithm, that unique combination. And my belief is that when we go through those past wins and we process them, we find patterns. What worked every time about your beliefs, your actions, your thoughts, right? What worked every time? And I believe that you can choose it. Take that, turn it into a manifesto, right? Like I encouraged you to write your own manifesto. And rehearse it every time in your mind until it's ingrained in your conscious mind already. And every time we go for a new situation, a new goal, or something is challenging again, we can actually apply that consciously and win whenever we need to win. And on top of that, we are free to make better choices for ourselves, right? We're better equipped to look at a situation and say, you know what? I'm not interested in dealing with this, or like, this is what I'm focused on, and this, thank you, this is old, goodbye. So
yeah, it does help. It helps to filter out when you know what your strengths are, when you know what your superpower is. And I want to just say that Chris, my friend Chris, is in the chat right now, and she's also a coach, and she's helping women and just kind of raising the vibration of the planet. This is just her kind of stuff. She absolutely loves this. So welcome, Chris. I'm so glad you're jumping in here this morning, and and I would love just, write in the chat whatever kind of strikes you, because I know this is your kind of thing. I'm telling you, Lexi, if Chris was here, we would all be speaking the same language at the table. And I've known her for years. We come from the beauty industry together, leadership and all that rolled into one. And she's actually one of the people that I call, when I'm like, I have this idea or this thing's going on. And, for years, we are able to bounce ideas off of each other. And she's really good. Chris is really good at really like honing down what that is, much like what you do. And I know she's done it, personally for herself, and that she's, helped me with it along the way. So I want to talk about that manifesto and why that's important. So once you look back and you look at the spaces of your life where you had these wins, you identify that combination or that system that was kind of inherent in you that maybe you weren't doing on purpose necessarily, but because that's how I look at it with me. It was really kind of natural, right? I felt like it was survival because I was so young that it was just kind of this intrinsic survival experience that I was having. And, how do you, why is it important to take that? I know why it's important to take that and remember it. I know why it's important to take that and apply it. Why is that important to write this manifesto?
Well, the first question, for example, when you saw something as your weakness or as a struggle, how long have you lived with that?
Wow. Okay, I just want to ask everybody in the chat right now. I mean, that is such a powerful question.
And it means, and think about this and add another thought to that. It means you were repeating something to yourself, over yourself, about yourself, over and over and over. That negative, imagine how much you kind of like wired in, right? That negative pattern into your mind.
So for me, if I can just jump in, so for me, I was thinking, I always have to figure things out. The weight is on me. If I don't figure it out, it's not going to get done. Like if I don't figure it out, if I don't put a roof over my head, if I don't take care of my dog, if I don't, and I have no support. Like I'm like, I have no support. I am like, I've built my life. I've had help along the way, but zero support. I am everybody.
Like your own,
yeah. I mean, I am all things and that's it. And I don't have anybody to lean on. And that's the part that gets exhausting. Remember I said I'm exhausted. I'm tired because I always have to figure it out. I don't have anybody to help me figure it out. I'm always figuring it out. And that's the dialogue that I've had. And so that was the negative speak, was like, I'm alone figuring all this out and I'm tired. Like that was the negative speak.
Exactly. And those feelings you just shared, it breaks my heart how many people live with them. And now think about this. How would your life change if that was not true anymore?
I love this question because I remember you asking this question. How would your life change if that was not true anymore? I mean, that would just lift everything. And I want to grab what Chris is saying in the chat. She says, our outer reality is a reflection of what's happening inside. And when we do the inner mindset work, it shows. And that's why I love these manifestos, to help us reframe. And I love the word reframe. Because it's not saying I'm starting over. It's not saying, I'm going to throw, and I don't know if this translates, but throw the baby out with the bathwater. We kind of say that, right? You're not starting over. You're reframing something that exists. So the good still stays. The challenges that you want in the frame still stays, but you're reframing it. I think that's brilliant. Thanks, Chris, for jumping in. That idea of writing that down. How would your life be if these things were not true?
Yes. And
wow.
you're actually you still recognize that's the thing. You have to honor yourself for the struggle you've gone through. Yeah, exactly. We're not throwing the baby with the water. You by reading that manifesto, you're bringing in a new perspective on what you've been through, but you're able, like I like to call it rewire. Like you rewire those thoughts from negative to positive, and not in a cheesy kind of way, but in a very realistic way. This is part of your story. And manifesto helps to, and I say, like, do it every morning, like you're brushing your teeth, right? You brush your teeth in the morning and in the evening. Do the manifesto as well. Like, make it into a habit, because if you've spent so many years rehearsing something that was destructive almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then think how much, and it's coming out of love, not out of obligation, out of love, how much you owe it to yourself to be repeating that manifesto every morning, every evening, to actually, you know what, I'm done with feeding my mind with that toxicity. Now I'm feeding my mind with love and honoring and owning what I've gone through and what I have achieved. How does your life change then?
Right. Well, I want to go back to the manifesto. Like, how long does it have to be? Like, are there any rules for the manifesto? What is it like?
It can be 3-5 lines. For example, how many strengths did we find for you, Michelle? I don't remember.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember.
I know you have plenty,
but
But like one of them, for example, I'm a master navigator. I'm able to navigate my way through anything, but now I choose to navigate it through what I like. So that's one. Okay.
So that's
long line,
but that's it, right? So like in the morning, like I'm brushing my teeth and I have I have it there on the counter. I have a glance at it. I can even talk to myself in the mirror and say, say that line, and then, just that becomes the habit. And then that becomes the reframe on it.
Yes.
Right.
So if you found like 3 strengths, then you would have 3 lines, and you can add at the end, and I love myself for that, and I honor myself for that. Like all of the empowering and kind language, because it's not just the stories we tell ourselves, and you are a pro at that, but also the words that we choose to tell those stories.
The words that we choose to tell our stories is so, so important. And for somebody that does this work, it's still a challenge, because just like you said, we've spent our whole life in this one, like saying these things to ourselves or looking, through a certain lens. I always say it's like, how like a TV commercial song, like, a jingle, or you could repeat the entire commercial if you need, somebody just needs to give you one word, and then you can basically do the whole rest of the commercial. And it's that same process where it's like, because you have seen it over and over and over, and it's been said so many times to you that it just becomes second nature. And we want the manifesto, we want the message to become second nature. And in order to do that, we have to make that almost like that TV commercial that you see over and over and over again.
So it's best to make it short initially if you don't have a habit. I read my manifesto. I keep adding stuff, so it takes me 20 minutes to read the whole thing, but you don't have to. You can start with, and I do it because it's fun and because it's invigorating and it's encouraging and uplifting. So don't turn it into some dreadful kind of discipline. Make it 2 lines. And speak it with love. That, and I think I told you about that too, right? Look in the mirror, deep into your eyes.
Yes, you did.
Find that little girl and speak with love and gentleness.
I think the mirror thing is really important. I don't know how many of us actually look at ourselves, we look at ourselves to do makeup and our hair, but look at ourselves. I want to grab this comment that Chris just made. She said, life's a journey, not a destination. And how we experience it is our choice. And Chris, earlier we were talking about that. And we were talking about that, as adults, sometimes we still feel like we have to do this and we have to do that. And we can choose, and we can choose how we want to do things as well. So when I look at, the work that I've done with Lexi, and I come out of it and I look at how before I looked at, gosh, I always have to figure things out. Now it's like, oh, I get to figure things out. And I get to figure things out in the spaces that I want to, and try to make it a little bit, and see it through different eyes, and see it through a different perspective. Doesn't it kind of like I wish we taught this to very young children.
Isn't it crazy though? We teach all those subjects, and we never teach people how to communicate with themselves and with other people. We just don't do that.
Right.
And look at the mess that we create. Most of the time is lack of communication with myself. I don't know how to understand myself. I don't know how to talk to myself, so that I'm actually helping myself. And I don't know how to communicate with other people.
I know. And then we try to fix it later, Gina says you can choose how you want your life and change it if it's not going the way you want. Absolutely, Gina. That is the choice. That's the empowering choice. And I think that one of the practices that that Lexi talks about, and it's going back and seeing, what your wins were and what your choices were in that space and what you did, and to be able to apply them today. And it's like, oh, Chris, yes, she agrees. And it does seriously need to be taught to children, because now and then we get oh, I got to fix it, how do I fix my life now? But I do, and I don't know if Lexi, if you agree with this or not, but I do believe that the vibration of the planet is rising. I do believe that the consciousness is growing, a greater consciousness, a higher consciousness. And, I have a 13-year-old daughter, and she is more enlightened, spiritually or socially than I was when I was 13. Mm-hmm. She's more savvy and empathetic, and I think that this evolution is happening, and I think that it is growing, and I think it's because of people like you, like me, people like our friends we have in the chat, the work that Chris is doing, all that contributes to that. And do you notice more clients, more people wanting this information?
Absolutely. And I think as a community, and by community, I'm a citizen of the world. Like all of us, we are fed up with the former ways, of this kind of kill and grab and, the kind of mentality. And I think people are waking up. And what I see is happening as well among leaders in large organizations. Empathy is not a swear word anymore, right?
Right.
Mental health, emotional health and even mental health for men, which used to be a taboo, right? You were supposed to have that front and this is it. So, and they are, just today I was speaking with, he used to be a senior VP of a very large automotive organization, and he is working with leaders in organizations, and they're all men, speaking about this, about, exactly what you're talking about. I think we're ready for a change as a global community. So it's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, for our friends in the chat, Lexi and I have this unique perspective on this type of information because we come from the corporate world, and we come from that space of seeing what was lacking and what was missing and what was minimalized and some of these important aspects of mindful leadership and really navigating in that space. And so, we really resonate together on this. And I love that you brought that up about the space of men leading mindfully and exploring these things, because it's about the people, right? It's about the human resources, because without the human resources, even if there's one human in the factory pushing buttons, it's the human resources. That's really what hits our bottom line. So I love that we share that, and we share that knowledge, and we can totally nerd out on that information. But I'd like to see it, and I noticed that there are more and more people reaching out, and more people. I had a guest, and she was on a few weeks ago, and she's a family therapist, and she also so she's a family therapist, and she started this practice, but her practice is like holistic wellness. So she's a licensed family therapist, but bringing in all these these things of, like, you said, normal therapy, we talk about like what happened in the past, what are the hurts, what are the pains, what are this, and she's balancing this out with neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy, and really tapping into the spaces of what do we bring forward. And I think everybody's ready for that. And then I'm just going to throw it out to the chat and just be like, what do you guys see? Do you see more people searching for this type of holistic, kind of self-empowerment, empathetic growth? I think that this is just such a good industry and such a good space to be in. I told everybody yesterday, I think I said, or the day before, that every time we have a conversation, we actually shorten each other's learning curve, because we get to share.
That's a good point.
And we share this information. And what do you think about that? And how do you see that?
Absolutely. There's a person who he's an actor, Glenn Morshower. You've seen him in I don't know how many shows. I got into his coaching because of his personality, and he has a very wholesome way of looking at things. So I'm quoting him here officially. He says that you're always doing one of the two things. You're either contaminating or contributing.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah. And so when we interact, like you and I found each other, right? And when we are contributing towards each other, and when we're contributing to each other's value and worth, definitely we're shortening the learning curve. Again, we're bringing a healthy perspective, right? Because what I see, you might not be able to see, but saying the other way around, you see what I might not be able to see. And that's how we're actually helping each other. And when we're in a group, we're helping the entire community. And my personal formula, I believe that 1 and 1 makes 11. So it's a multiplying factor.
That's funny. 1 and 1 makes 11. And I think that's
1 and 1 together.
And I honestly think, like, this is what I love about this platform, and this is what I love about Sway TV, is because I think 1 and 1 does make 11 here. I like that, because we contribute to each other and we contribute to the conversation. And in the chat, I always tell them, listen, jump in the chat. Even if you say 2 words in the chat, it's important to the conversation, because you don't know who is going to read those 2 words and say, oh, I resonate with that. That just made my life better or easier or smoother. We are all coaches, just because, there's certifications involved and all these things. We're all living life. We're all going through this journey, and we all have something to contribute, and we all have something to share. And I love this platform because it allows us to do that. What, Lexi, if somebody wanted to contact you, what would be the best way for them to contact you? Because you're not here.
Right, exactly. First thing you can do right away is go over on Instagram to my profile. It's Lexi Baikova with a dot between the first and the last name. And if you're following Michelle on Instagram, I'm her follower, she's my follower, so you can find that in her followers list. But it's lexi.baikova, and that's the fastest way. I'm also a regular on Clubhouse. And in my Instagram, there is a link in my bio that actually will take you to a page to the confidence clarity reset that Michelle and I did, so you can have a look.
Oh, and you guys, I absolutely recommend that you do that. So in your bio and Instagram, there's a link. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's such a great exercise, Lexi, so efficient, and, just kind of, it's not fluff, it's the good stuff, and it just, takes you right through. It was a great experience. So I would absolutely recommend that you guys do that. And I actually connected with Lexi on Clubhouse. Clubhouse is like some sort of phenomenon right now, which is pretty cool. And I think, and it is about sharing conversation, just like we do here, they do there, and it just like raises the level and raises the vibration for people. I want you to tell, and I kind of like glazed over it in the beginning, but I want you to tell our viewers where you are, because to me it's so interesting that you and I can have this exchange, virtually here and have such an incredible impact. Where are you? Because you're a long ways away from Los Angeles.
We're literally across the world, right? Because we have a 9-hour time difference, which means plus minus, we're literally half the world apart. I'm in Europe, in Slovakia. It's a small country, and what I love, and I'm an expat, I'm not a Slovak myself. So what I love about this country, that the city, the capital is Bratislava, and Vienna, the capital of Austria, is a 30-minute drive.
Oh.
I actually see Austria in my backyard when I take walks. When I go into my backyard, I see Austria right from there. But also, there are 3 more countries that are just like Hungary. You can drive to Budapest in a couple hours. You can drive to Prague, which is in the Czech Republic. They're also close. You can actually have like a James Bond experience if you want, all in a matter of a weekend.
That's so exciting to me. I don't know if you guys in the chat have this feeling of, and maybe it's because we've all been at home for so long. When I hear where you are, I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds so amazing. When I think of all those areas that you talked about, including the James Bond experience, because I love race cars and I love fast cars and I love any cars. And so when you say that, I just kind of picture, the whole driving
from country to country.
Yeah. It's all amazing to me. And then Lexi, are you doing anything? Are you doing anything specific on Clubhouse? Do you have any specific rooms, or do you just kind of jump on? And
thank you for asking. I forgot about it. I do. I have united forces with a couple other coaches. We have a club. It's called Confidence Room. So we look for Confidence Room, and we run daily rooms there. And the main topic there for me is confidence. It's everything about how to show up confidently, how to, what do we call it, to strengthen that confidence. Because, well, think about it. That lack of confidence is what not allowing us to charge what we're worth, right?
Right.
Lack of confidence is what keeps us from attracting our soulmate, because we're lacking the like not being able to communicate with people we would really like to. And lack of confidence, we spoke about this today, is actually me being too hard on myself, not owning my worth. So we talk about all of that, and we have an expert. She's actually an expert on body shaming, and she's a plus size model. If that is something that that you might find, necessary in this season of your life. So it's all about confidence. It's Confidence Room.
Well, and then you guys do that every day? You have a confidence room every day?
Every day we change topics. Like sometimes we're just there for people who are new, but 3 times a week we go in depth.
Yeah.
Like we talk for real.
Well, that's awesome. So you guys can find Lexi in Clubhouse. I know that we will have Lexi back on Sway 100%. If Clubhouse has done anything, it's brought me some really, really great souls into my life, and Lexi's one of them. So I appreciate you so much. And then I want you to maybe just tell again how they can connect. What's the Instagram?
So it's Lexi.Bykova. I mean, we can't, it's LEXIE.BYKOVA.
Okay.
So that's my profile, and you can always send me a message. You can always click the link in my bio. And like I said, if you're following Michelle, and I think you'd better, you'll find me her contacts, because we follow each other on Instagram, even if you like forget how to spell my name and all that, you know.
Yes, and you guys can follow me at MMMindful on Instagram, and you can send me messages there if there's anything that you guys want to know more about. If you want to connect in with Lexi or whatever you have going on, I'm happy and available to answer questions or put you in the right direction. So just know that I'm here as a support for you guys as well. So, and I appreciate you being here today, Lexi, and talking about finding your superpower. And I'm just gonna break it down really quick into kind of what, the way that my mind does it. And it's really about having somebody to hold space for you to kind of look back at your wins, and get that combination of how those wins went down, what did that look like, and how to understand what that formula is, and then applying it, into today and into your life today, and looking at how do we start to reframe, reprogram, rewire our thoughts in and around that by using a tool like a manifesto, and being able to create that habit with that, so we can create that neural pathway that's giving us the right message, and moving forward, and always remembering that we have a choice, right?
Yeah.
Always remembering it's all kind of within us. There's nothing really outside of us that we need. It's all within us, and we definitely have a choice. So, Lexi, is there anything you want to say to our viewers, or our viewers that are in the chat as we say goodbye to you today?
Yes, thank you, Michelle. I definitely would like to say something. If you're struggling, feeling you're not enough, what's wrong with me, if you're lacking that confidence, one thing I know for sure, it's not too late, it's not over, you are enough. You do have your own unique combination. You have your own unique set of strengths, and access it, get in touch with it. Do not believe anybody who tells you something different, because it's not true. And exactly confirming Michelle's words, it is your choice what to think, what to focus on, and we're here to help with that. And if we're not the right people for you, I'm sure there are other highly qualified coaches, but it's not too late. It's not over. You got it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Lexi. And we will connect. I'm going to connect with you in the next couple days, because I want to jump in on your Clubhouse and listen to what you guys have going on there. So I'm excited about that.
And we'll be happy to invite you as an expert speaker, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. I would be honored. So go enjoy your backyard. Enjoy your view for me. Maybe have a James Bond weekend. I don't know. But enjoy it. And I thank you, and I'm grateful for you participating today on Sway TV. So thank you, Lexi.
Thank you, Michelle. And
right.
Thank you, Sway TV. See you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Switch it. Run the main.
What did you guys think of Lexi? How awesome was that? I'm so glad that she had an opportunity to come back and recap and kind of like circle back around after I met with her. I'm going to tell you that I didn't really, I wanted to do the session with her. I had no idea it was going to be what it was. And it was very, very powerful. And she was able to do it in one session, which was fantastic. So I just really, I recommend her. I think she's awesome. And I hope that was good for you guys today. Oh, Gina says, thank you, Lexi. And she is, Gina, she is very, very good. And I really connected with her because she's so chill, right? And really speaks from an authentic place. And I was intrigued by her story of growing up in the Soviet Union and, you know, hearing a little bit more about, you know, what that was like and what she, you know, had to deal with as a kid. And it just, you know, I really enjoyed her and I wanted to share her with you guys. So thank you for letting me do that. And hopefully it adds value to your life. So, and today we talked about superpowers, and I kind of want to talk about what helps me with my superpower. And you guys know this. I'm so grateful every time I get a matcha here at Sway. And the reason why is because there's got to be like maybe a Sway matcha, something has to happen, because I'm always on the lookout for a really good matcha. And I'm going to tell you that I always come back to the Sway matcha, and there's somebody really special here at Sway TV that makes this matcha for me, and her name is Felicia, and I just want to give her a shout out. Yes, Gina, this is my lucky matcha. I haven't even had a drink yet. I wish you guys could see the top of it. It's so pretty, and it's just all frothed perfectly. You know, we use their Zulai frother that you can get on Amazon, which is incredibly powerful. I'll tell you, you have to make sure that your container is deep enough when you use that Zulai frother, because it will froth as much as you want. But look how it's so pretty. Can you see how pretty this is? I'm about to take a drink of it right now. Oh my God. It's so good. It's so amazing. Like I said, I'm on the lookout all the time. And some matchas, I'll literally buy the matcha and I'll take a sip and it's no good, no go. And I just throw it out. I don't even bother to drink the rest of it. But this one I do. And then I have, I wonder if I have access. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Let's see. Because you guys know I like the ceremonial grade matcha that they have on Amazon, and I think this is what is used to make this matcha. Let's see. If I can get to it, I'll get to it. If not, you guys will just have to take my word for it of how amazing it is. And I have to get better at this. Did you know there's also a matcha? Oh wait, Gina says, I booked my Cali trip last night. I'm not sure I can come down to LA, though. We're planning to. Oh, you're going to Lake Tahoe? Gina, you're going to Lake Tahoe? Wait a minute. So Lake Tahoe is not that far from us. I mean, well, it is and it isn't. It depends. I mean, do you have a lot of kids that you're driving around in the car? Because if you do, then it might be a little bit of a trek. But you're not going to regret coming to California. I'll tell you that right now. Oh, I think I found my matcha. Here we go. Look at this. Do you guys see this? Gina, does this look familiar? What do we have here? You know what I talk about when I talk about Sway, and I talk about the community that we create here at Sway and the connection that we have and how we help each other. Gina, does this look familiar to you? Yes? You guys listen. Hector, welcome to Sway TV. This was made by Gina. Gina made this for us. So I am going to tell you that it's not just about us sharing our great and good stuff with you guys. it's you guys are sharing your great and good stuff with us too. We are honored here at Sway to be recognized like this with these little. I mean, this is like a big deal. I think, Gina, you went through a lot of trouble. Yes, ma'am, that's right. Gina, you are one special soul. Thank you so much. And Sway TV appreciates you and loves you. And even more, I have to say that it's this deep sense of community that you're helping perpetuate. So we win, you win, and we all get there faster. I talk about expediting the process. I talk about shortening the learning curve when it comes to the things that we want to know. And I think that we all do that for each other. And to know that, that somebody is a talented graphic designer that can create this for us and send it to us and love us enough, it doesn't go unnoticed. It doesn't go unnoticed. And as a matter of fact, it stays with us. Every single one of our hosts and everyone here at Sway TV is very, touched, really touched by this. And you know what? Gina knows. She knows what we do here at Sway because she is also a live streamer on Amazon. So cheers to my fellow live streamer. We love you. We love you, love you. And we can't wait to use our little signs outside. We're looking forward to doing that. Gina says, I'm glad it got there in one piece. I wasn't sure that would happen. Gina, this is more than one piece. This is quality. Whatever you created here on this is a quality piece. And I love that you did. This feels like summer to me. What do you guys think? This feels like summer. And this feels like red carpet, right? Red carpet in summer. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to put them in the lawn outside. We have so much. Have you guys seen our outside set yet? Wait till you see the outside set. It's absolutely beautiful. And the outside of the studio is gorgeous. And now that the weather, I say now, like California doesn't have great weather all the time, but it's better now than it was before. Now that the weather's better, we are doing more and more and more outside. And we love the fact that this goes right with our brand. So we're going to use this outside when we do our meditations and we've got a great pet show. I don't know if you guys have caught that yet. I actually don't like to be here when it's happening because I want to adopt a pet and take the doggies home. But we're going to use that with all of our stuff outside, and it absolutely fits into our brand. And we know that it was made with love and care. And I'm touched. We're touched. I speak for all of Sway when I say thank you for loving us and recognizing us. And we recognize you as a fellow streamer and love you deeply. So can you tell us, Gina, how people can follow you? We would love to support you here at Sway. And Gina's saying the pet show is amazing. I know. You know what? Gina, when I was here, there was a dog that I wanted. And I said, what's the process? And she said, oh, well, he's only, I think he was 4 weeks old. And you have to, you have to wait. And I'm so glad she said you have to wait, or I would have gone home with that dog. So I don't know, how many dogs I'm going to end up with if I keep coming to Sway. So it looks like Gina put it in the chat at pattycakes0719 IG. So that is how you guys follow Gina and see all the amazing stuff. Gina, you and I talked about matcha before, and you said you were going to make a Sway matcha on your live stream, and we want to help you with that. So let us know how we can support you to make the Sway matcha. There is a special person that makes the matcha. Her name's Felicia, but it is a Sway matcha. This is the only place that you can get it. But you can get the ingredients on Amazon. But the technique, well, we will share that technique with Gina because we want Gina to make a Sway matcha. So Gina says, yes, but I don't know what I'm doing. That's perfect because you know what? We could maybe even do it together. I don't know exactly how all this technology works, but we could do this together. And So what we start with the jade leaf matcha. That's the organic matcha that I love and that I'm drinking right now. You guys, even when I go home, I don't make it like this. It's kind of disappointing. So we all need a tutorial. I wonder if I could find out how we could make the matcha together, or how we could support you in making the matcha. Look, all you got to say is matcha and I'm in and I'm trying to figure it out. What did Lexi just say? My thing's figuring it out. We're going to have to figure it out. So, Gina says, if Felicia tells me what I need exactly, we'll get the ingredients and she tells me how. I wonder if there's a link or a something we could put for the famous Sway matcha somewhere.
Maybe I'll post it on Instagram.
Felicia's going to post she's going to give all her secrets away, you guys, because she loves you and because Sway is here to support you as a community. She's going to give her matcha making secrets away, and she's going to post that on Instagram. So look for Sway on Instagram and find all the secrets. But you're going to have to tell us, Gina, when you do the matcha, because we want to participate. We want to be involved. Oh, there it is. Here we go. So this is the jade leaf matcha mix. And it's the cafe style.
No, that's not.
That's not the one?
No.
Okay.
It's the regular.
It's
I'm
the
gonna put it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Felicia's going to put it in the chat. And so we'll have the right one. But we've tried many, so just letting you know, we don't leave any.
Yeah, that's the latte that has stuff in it.
Okay, so it's not the latte, because the latte has other ingredients in it. Yeah. What I'm having today is not that one, but is it
straight up matcha?
It's the straight up matcha. I think it may be right here. Let's see. Is it? Oh, yep, there it is. It's in the chat, you guys. Jade leaf organic ceremonial matcha. Smooth. It is so smooth, and it's not, sometimes you'll get a little bit of a kind of a bite, and it's not like that. And I actually thank you so much, Felicia, for that, because I found the right one. And so here we are. This is our jade leaf matcha. And I don't know if you guys are coffee drinkers. Yes, and Gina, here it's up on the screen, and it's like, and it's in the chat, so you can access it in either way. I've had matcha that tastes like really, really bitter and just kind of like not comfortable to drink. Then I've had matcha that tastes kind of like grass. And I don't really mind a grassy kind of taste in matcha or juices or anything like that. But this is so smooth. It's not bitter. It doesn't taste like grass. This matcha is so smooth and is such a treat. And I can't have like too much caffeine or I will just go woo off. But it's just enough, just this one matcha. So good. Yes, get that matcha, and then Sway TV, Felicia's gonna put her recipe in the chat, and then you're good to go. And then you got to tell us what's going on, right? And it's okay, you don't have to it doesn't have to be perfect. This is what I love about live streaming. It doesn't have to be perfect. You guys were real, approachable, relatable connection. That's the whole idea. So we will work with you until the matcha is perfected. Gina says, my audience wants me to do live cooking and I'm a hot mess in the kitchen, but that's okay. I think it's okay to be a hot mess in the kitchen. I think it's okay to maybe not look perfect, because we're not. We're absolutely not. Some of those Instagram feeds that you see and they're just to perfection. Yeah, I like looking at those, but I know they're not real. And everybody has their moments. I like it when I post a perfect meditation picture and people are like, oh, you must be so zen all the time. I'm not zen all the time. I'm human. So sometimes I lose it. Everybody does. It's about recovery. How do you recover from that? And Gina's saying it should make good comedy in the kitchen. It does, and laughter is the pathway, is it not? Laughter is the pathway to connect. and it's authentic and funny, right? It's not like you're trying to be funny. You're just trying to cook. I honor you for even being able to navigate yourself in the kitchen, because I may be able to figure stuff out, but the kitchen is one of the places that I have yet to figure out. Maybe I'm not interested in figuring it out. We talked about choices earlier today with Lexi, and maybe I'm just choosing not to figure that out. So I'm happy to have people like Gina that can figure out the kitchen, and people like Felicia that knows how to make an amazing, amazing matcha. But, Gina says the kitchen is not her happy zone. But are you a good cook? I mean, do you make good food? Do you like the food that you make? Does your family like the food that you make? Because sometimes you don't like the food that you make, but your family does. My daughter always wants to go out and eat because she knows that if I try to make something, it's not going to be great. Hey, Diego, welcome to Sway TV. We had a great program today with Lexi, and we talked about finding your superpower, kind of revisiting your wins and understanding that combination of what makes you successful and using that. And it was wonderful. You're going to have to catch it on the replay. And then now we're just kind of chilling with matcha, with my favorite matcha. And we're talking about Sway TV has a specific matcha recipe that they are going to share on their Instagram coming up soon. So keep an eye out for that. And we're just kind of wrapping it up, and I'm taking the temperature. How is everybody doing?